The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Luxury just got way more affordable. Meet Italic, the members-only one-stop shop for premium products at a fraction of what they normally cost. Access 800-plus quality goods from the same manufacturers as your favorite brands for up to 80% less. Like bedsheets you'd find at the Four Seasons and St. Regis, and leather bags by the same artisans who make Prada and Miu Miu. No BS, just the finest goods at the fairest prices. Sign up for an Italic membership at Italic.com today using code ITALIC30 for 30% off.
On the Disney Plus original series, Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, it's the Robin you know and love, bringing you the stories you've never heard. Join Robin for intimate conversations with some of the biggest icons of our time, where women from all generations create a dialogue about life, struggle, and triumph. At Robin's Table, inspiration comes full circle. Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts. All episodes now streaming on Disney Plus.
New hot and iced Sunrise Batch Coffee from Dunkin'. A bright and balanced, full-bodied blend brewed so you can get summering from sunrise to sunset. And even after that, because that's when you can show off those string lights you hung in the backyard. Or rehung. Enjoy a medium, hotter iced Sunrise Batch Coffee for $2. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
All right. I guess let's start the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were already starting it. That's why I was just sitting here waiting.
So after 30 seconds, I was like, I think we're starting. All right.
I was just trying to light a roach.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
You have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron,
And welcome back.
and we are the Weedsmen.
Yes. How long until we can't... How long
We need
until
to say that together.
How long until our title's problematic? Why aren't we the Weeds people?
Well, we are both men.
Hey, it doesn't. It's your first day in 2021. It don't matter.
Yeah, but it is. Yeah, it's not an inclusive name.
We are marginalizing half of the population with our name.
Well, look, if we name our followers, they can be the Weeds people, right? Weeds the people? No, that doesn't really work, does it? What would we call our followers? You can't call them weed heads, right?
Weedsmanites still is problematic because we're using the word men.
Yeah. I mean, it's only two people, so I guess we could just ask them.
Right? Hey, one of you, let us know.
Yeah. What is your preferred, I don't know. I was trying to think of a clever play on pronoun.
I did read an article
but it would be...
the other day that said one of the signs that you're viewed as old is you do not have your preferred pronouns in your Instagram profile. So I'm
probably going to be old for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so two things. I don't have an Instagram, nor would I give a fuck about putting my preferred pronouns in it. So old and old.
Yeah, that might be a sign that you're old, but you know what's a sign that you're old and trying to deny it? That you're pushing 50 and you're putting your pronouns in your profile.
Yeah, exactly. I've never understood Instagram. I am not one of those people.
I'm trying again.
Instagram is for those people who have to take a picture of everything. I am not that person. I have never been that person. I will never be that person.
Yeah. I can post some shit, I go through spats where I will post multiple photos in a day. But I don't know.
Like, I'm of this mind of
rarely
this crazy thing
of food.
And called Have a Memory.
But yeah, Instagram, I downloaded it again. I jumped on it years ago, but I've never really done anything with it. I have 3 posts to date. It's like a picture of me and my kids, and I think the other 2 are probably cats.
Hey.
I mean, that about covers it.
You can't go wrong with a cat on social media. Social media loves the cats.
And I like seeing other people's cats.
I'm sure there's an account called Cats of Instagram. I don't even have to check. I am 1,000% sure that exists.
But I've also been out on the social media more because, you know, I've been trying to get out on the dating scene.
Oh.
And it's hard to date these days without having a social media presence.
That's true. People got to make sure you're not a psycho. And vice versa.
Right. Well, right. Not having a profile that's easily findable would be a tell. But just, you know, my first instance of actually flirting through the app itself, through Facebook. I've never, as long as I've been on Facebook, even though I've been on it recently, I spent a fair enough time on it before, and I never really spoke to people that I didn't know in real life through Facebook. But I did, so I was, you know, just friending random single women with.
Oh, don't be that guy. Oh, you can't be that guy.
Well, not random.
They can't be randos.
Friend of friends.
There you go.
Know, right? One of them was a woman who she had some pics of going to parties back in the day that looked, you know, very similar to mine. It's my experiences of Detroit parties. I was like, all right. Well, and she had some similar friends, and I shot her a friend request, and then soon after she accepted it and then liked one of my recent posts. I was like, I know that language.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah. And I kind of dig this. Like in the span of less than 24 hours, you know, we had a kind of crazy conversation through the app that ended in like legitimately, not with sarcasm, like have a nice life, you know, because she starts throwing out some kind of crazy like conspiracy theory stuff, but you know, I'm not sure if she's one of those like nuts or is just into it in the way that I'm into some of that stuff. Like it's super interesting and some of it's funny. And so I'm, you know, being playful with it, and then it gets into religion, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to say like I can't date a person who believes in God, because, you know, it might be difficult, but the right person that has an actual open mind, and, you know, maybe it would work. But at the end of the day, she was like, because, you know, when she started talking about God, I was like, yeah, I'm an atheist, but, you know, I try and keep an open mind of the wonders of the universe. You know, I don't know anything. And she was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to flirt anymore because I'm actually kind of serious about looking for somebody, and I can't see myself being with somebody who doesn't believe in God.
Fair enough.
And I was like, dude, right on, because I can't see myself dating somebody who would exclude atheists from their dating pool.
At least that is respectable. You both were like, no, not what I'm looking for. Peace. See ya.
So I'm seeing the charm in that respect.
I mean, I got rules, you know? Now. I mean, dipping my toe back into the dating pool.
No,
I'm with you. If Jesus or Christ comes up in your profile next, just.
Well,
if
that's
you
the
like
thing.
politics so much, you have to put it in your profile. No, I've seen so many things like people. If you voted for Trump, please swipe whatever you're, or if no liberals, please apply. Like, oh my God, if you were into politics so much, you put it in your dating profile. And pass. Even for me, I agree with your politics.
Right. It's not even about the person's politics or personal beliefs. It's that they use those things to help, quote unquote, form their personality. That is a warning sign to me that they might not have a whole lot else going on underneath it. You know, a person believes in religion, fine. You know, I don't look down on anyone, but a person who presents that as, you know, especially in ways where like, oh, I'm better than others because of my devout belief in whatever crazy thing, you know, that's a real warning sign for me. But, you know, but coming up in conversation, I'm not like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom and then run out the door.
Another thing too that I noticed seems to be a sticking point too is the fucking vaccines. People will put that in their profile too. Like, I am not now, or am I ever going to get a vaccine? Or people like, if you don't believe in getting a vaccine, then we shouldn't date. Like, oh my, really? It's in dating profiles now? Get the fuck out of here. I will just be single and beat off till I die. If this is where everything is going.
Well, I just don't know. Facebook has asked me many times if I want to put the badge on my profile picture that says I'm vaccinated, and I've declined. I am vaccinated. I don't see why that's everybody's business. I understand the types of promotion that they're trying to do, but, ultimately, I believe that, I don't want to go back over the vaccine stuff, but, I'm not going to judge anyone who decides that they don't want to get this vaccine. People have to make their own decisions, and there's just too much bullshit information, even from sources like the CDC and our own government. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theory shit either. I'm just saying, it hasn't been, the information rollout has been really jacked up on this, and I can't blame anyone for being skittish about the way it's been handled.
I will tell, if there's been rumors they're going to roll back the mask mandate, and I was fine the first time. This time, fuck you. I did everything you told me to do. I didn't get COVID. I got the vaccine. I still haven't gotten COVID, and you're going to make me put on a mask again because a bunch of other assholes don't want to follow the fucking rules?
Right. That's the thing. It's not based on we found that you actually are at risk from certain variants even if you are vaccinated. Nobody's found that. Nobody's
Pfizer's
found
come
that.
out and said, hey, we're cool against the Delta variant. Doesn't matter.
They're trying to say loud without saying it directly. We need everyone to mask up to try and get people who are not getting vaccinated and not masking themselves to at least put a mask on.
This is where I say...
And that's a losing battle.
Darwin needs to step into the picture. If there's a way...
That's dark. Yeah, I can't go there.
And you don't want to take it...
Look, if there's a way to save people from their own ignorance, I think that we should do those things within reason.
No, I don't think you should be saved from your own ignorance.
I think that's part of what we do. As a collective society,
but this is choosing to be willfully ignorant in this case.
Oh, I hear you. Right.
The numbers clearly suggest vaccination is the way to go, and you are just so. Because I want to ask all these people based on what. Please give me your proof. Show me the body counts. Show me this rash of all of these people just getting all of these. It's all based on a feeling that they feel like the next person who says I'm not a guinea pig, I'm going to punch him in the face. That's how I feel.
Well, we're all guinea pigs with modern medicine.
Exactly. Well, there's that too. Just to me, it's like I said, it's time to let Darwin take out the trash. Fine, cool. You don't believe in it? Cool. Then get it and die, and the rest of us will go on living our lives. That's kind of where I'm at now. Especially if I got to remask up because you don't want to follow the rules. I'm yelling at a cloud. My old man yelling at a cloud again. But that's what's wrong with our society. We coddle the morons.
The real victim here, though, are the Home Depot hot dogs.
Oh, R.I.P. Why are they taking them away?
I don't know. I think it's because of health concerns.
But again, based on what? Tell me the COVID outbreaks that have come from distributing food in the last year and a half. Remember, we were all spraying down our groceries. We didn't need to. We were all spraying down our takeout containers. We didn't need to. Why do we got to get rid of it?
We all learned the word fomite. We didn't need to.
Is this just a way for Home Depot to cut some overhead, and they're blaming it on COVID?
In March 2020, our in-store food vendors were asked to close for the safety of customers and associates, and the decision has been made to suspend food vendor operations in Michigan so we can focus on serving customers with their home improvement needs.
Cut to a year and a half later. Well, we found out we weren't making that much from selling hot dogs, so we're just not going to bring them back. That's probably really what it is.
Well, I think they were probably making quite a bit off of hot dogs in the past, but it's not just about policy. It's about public perception, right? So if people are just generally leery about being in public and catching a virus, they're less likely to eat a hot dog off of a cart in a hardware store. It's just, I mean, look, I went through the whole pandemic. I didn't eat a Home Depot hot dog, and I've packed away plenty of those things in my lifetime.
I think I've eaten one like once.
I've gone to Home Depot for the dogs.
I personally don't give a shit one way or the other if Home Depot keeps their hot dogs, but I think if they're gonna cloak why they're getting rid of them in a lie, that's kind of dumb. Like, just say, look, it wasn't that big of a bottom line to our business. We don't miss it. It's less additional overhead. They're done. But don't perpetuate the lie that we were distributing COVID with food, because that was never the case. The problem with COVID and food was the other people around you eating the food. That's how you got COVID from food.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of emblematic of what's going on with our response to, not to make this the COVID show, but, our whole country's response to it, right? So essentially what their statement is saying is that at the beginning of the pandemic, out of an abundance of caution, they shut down the food carts because we didn't know how this was being transmitted, and we wanted to try and stop every avenue, and nobody ultimately wanted to be personally responsible for an outbreak, right? A lot of people did a lot of things that didn't make sense, and hopefully as we got more information about how this thing spread, we adjusted our behavior. But what they're saying they're doing is, hey, as more information came out, we're still going with our initial gut reaction and ignoring all of the science of the last year and a half, even the one that gave us the vaccine. And we're just going to say, nope, hot dogs, still weird, probably not great, and we're not going to do it. And that's what's going on all over the place. It's like, because everybody, out of a huge abundance of caution, nobody wants to be perceived as being responsible for spreading the disease. I don't know.
I just hope people need to get back to work, because this taking a half an hour every time I go to Taco Bell is getting ridiculous. I just ordered 2 burritos. Why am I in line for 25 minutes?
I don't know. One by me goes pretty quick.
Every fast food restaurant, I don't know if you know, there's always a line. Always.
Well, because everybody's doing the drive-thru, right? Before, people were going into the store. If the drive-thru line was too long, you would just go, I'll see if I can get my food longer by going inside. And now you're just not going to do that. You're going to go, no, I'm going to wait in this long-ass line.
At least do curbside. Pre-order it. Time's a commodity you don't get back.
I did that plenty over last summer. I would order Taco Bell through the app, ride my bike up there, put my mask on, run inside, grab my food, spray it with a can of Raid.
Got to get all those fomites.
Right. So, speaking of fast food, though, I guess not really fast food, but pizza. I was reading the article actually you shared on Facebook about Detroit-style pizza, because it seems like it's one of those things, like, everyone in Detroit talks about Detroit-style pizza. Nobody outside of Detroit talks about Detroit-style pizza.
Because it wasn't a thing until the last decade. Like,
it's like Coney dogs. Like, in Detroit, it's the Coney, and outside of Detroit, they're like, what the? Nobody cares about that.
It's like we grew up. We both grew up in this area. We both have lived here our whole lives. Mm-hmm. I have not started hearing the term Detroit-style pizza till like post 2010.
Right. And if you didn't show me a picture or describe it at all, I probably would have shown you a Little Caesars round doughy pizza.
Yeah.
There's a Detroit style. Well, it must be this, because this is what everybody I know eats. But apparently it's Buddy's.
Yeah. Well, see, the other thing that would have jumped to mind was Buddy's. Buddy's would have jumped to mind. Like, what, you mean like Buddy's? Which it's all Sicilian style. But I would have thought that Buddy's would be more of a Chicago style, but the Chicago style, I guess, is like super thick. Or Chicago style is like you need like a pie knife to serve it. Right. Yeah. What's the place downtown that does that? Giordano's? No, the chain. They've got them. Pizza Uno? No. I'm trying to think of the chains that have come out of Chicago that have made it here. I don't know. It's in Greektown. They do a really super thick. Maybe Pizzapopolis? Pizzapopolis. That's the one. But, I mean, I always knew Detroit style is just because I worked at Papa Romano's as a teenager. Detroit, it's Sicilian style. Because Papa Romano's called themselves Sicilian style pizza, and the way it's made just like a Buddy's pizza. It's made just like every, the company I work for.
Do sauce on top?
Yeah, that's part of the. I mean, the company I work for right now.
Yeah, you're right. It's been a while.
Has a quote unquote Detroit style deep dish, and then the last thing you do before you box it up is you put the sauce on it. Mm-hmm. Which at Papa Romano's,
it kind of makes sense.
They put it on before you cook it.
Right. So, yeah, on Buddy's, they're just putting, probably just warm sauce, but you put it on a hot pizza, and, it's all copacetic. But, yeah, I mean, it actually kind of makes more sense that way because then you don't have that. When you have the sauce as a layer between your cheese and bread, that's what allows all that hot cheese to stick together and slide right off that bread. I
mean, to me, the Detroit-style deep dish is the best style of deep dish. I prefer the sauce on top.
Right, because then the cheese stays evenly distributed over the bread as you eat it, and the sauce as does the sauce. Sauce isn't really going anywhere, so you're not going to have that slice where you take one bite off of it and all the cheese comes off, and then you try and throw it back on and piece it back together.
Yeah, the keto pizza. We just end up eating all the toppings.
Right.
But yeah, this article, definitely something written by somebody not from Detroit.
Oh, really?
Well, no, you could just tell by
because they eat their pizza with a knife and fork.
One of the things they tell you about Detroit style pizzas, you can eat it with a knife and fork. And I put on Facebook, no, you cannot. No, you do not. If I saw anybody eating a Buddy's pizza with a knife and fork, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
out of towner. No, it's still pizza.
Buddy's is not that. What would you say the thickness on a Buddy's would be? Like less than 3/4 of an inch?
No, it's
about an inch.
Yeah,
it ain't super thick. It's not. My memory is that it was thinner than a Jet's.
Oh no, probably about the same.
It's about Jet's thickness. So Jet's gets about an inch, I believe. Maybe just under.
In Detroit, however, you are forgiven if you use some silverware to cut into your piece of pizza. No, you are not.
No.
We would look at you like a weirdo.
You are forgiven. Yes, people around you would be like, oh, he's just mentally retarded. Why doesn't somebody cut his pizza for him? That's why you're forgiven. They think that you're an idiot.
Oh, my. Listen to this person. Via PMQ, I believe it's a pizza industry magazine. That's because Detroit-style pizza is served at a not-so-cool 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and so perhaps plunging your fingers into it immediately maybe isn't the best option. So what? It's cooked in a different oven than every other pizza? I'd start there. It's last time I checked, they're all cooked in the same oven. It's all going to be the same temperature.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing that threw me. Like, Detroit-style pizza is different because they cook it in a different pan at a different temperature and a different... I'm like, no, they don't. There's different shit all over the state.
Yeah.
There's not like a uniform oven that no, you're cooking Detroit style. This is the oven. This is how you do it.
The sheer thickness of the crust is another issue. What, we're all struggling, oh my God, I can't pick this thing up. Like Gus Guerra, who first used a factory pan to make this pie, the style continues to be baked in a pan made of thick steel, more similar to a cast iron skillet than a cake pan, says Michigan.com. So a slice of this pizza is not as simple to pick up as its thinner New York cousin. Oh my God, it's a slice of pizza. What are we trying?
Simple.
It's a slice of pizza in a square.
So there's a technique. You use one fork and one chopstick. So you stab it with the fork from underneath, and then you kind of use the chopstick on the other side, and you fold it up a little bit. No, you just fucking eat it like pizza.
Yeah, because apparently your fingers in this situation not going to get the job done since it's cut in a square, not the traditional pizza triangle.
Yeah. You know why pizza is such a popular food item in all of America? Because you really don't have to overthink it.
Yes.
It's a very simple meal. You find your favorite place, your local place that you dig, or maybe even more than one if you like to change it up. Sometimes I like a flatter pizza. But, yeah. This guy, struggling for material. Just imagine going to your editor. What do you got? Detroit pizza? Detroit pizza? What the fuck is that? Has it got a rat on it?
It comes with a gun.
No. Each slice has a little...
it's a pizza that holds you up. Robs
His
you.
little vial with a tiny little rose inside of it
Yeah.
that you can repurpose for smoking crack.
They are
Yeah.
right about this article is right.
What do they write
They bring
about?
up Pizza Hut's Detroit style deep dish. Pretty much their reaction was my reaction when I had it. Nice try, but not even close.
Yeah, I think like Pizza Hut does the pizza that they do really well. They should just stay in their lane.
But this article says the untold truth of Detroit style pizza. What is there to tell?
He's blowing the lid off it.
Oh my God. Yeah, the untold truth is that it really didn't fucking exist until fucking millennials decided it was a thing, apparently. It's just a deep dish pizza, man. Not one of Buddy's.
I wouldn't mind a Buddy's. I haven't had one in a long time. The distinctive factor for a Buddy's pizza for me seemed to be, particularly the crust. There was a definite buttery taste to the crust that was very unique.
Oh, yeah, it's because it probably proofs in butter.
Yeah.
Probably sits there and absorbs butter for 24 hours before they even serve it to you.
Yeah, so it just like the bread just kind of falls apart, you know. It's like practically a honeycomb already once it's cooked. That Wu-Tang album went up for sale again.
Oh, the one the farmer bro had to surrender when he went to jail?
Yeah. Yeah, the government flipped Shkreli's Wu-Tang album.
Oh, when the government takes your Wu-Tang, oh man.
That's got to hurt because, you know, they're not getting top dollar for it. They're probably just taking whatever they got at auction. The sale price appeared to be at least $2.2 million. Well, that'll pay off a decent amount of debt. I don't know what the total is on his. Judge said $7.36 million. So Shkreli's probably on the phone to fucking old. I almost said old dirty bastard, but he's dead. Any one of the other Wu-Tang members.
RZA?
He's like, gosh, I hope you guys make a new album and give it to me. Like, I need about 2 or 3 more of these to square up my debt with Uncle Sam.
I think the Wu-Tang show is finally coming back. Hey, there you go. A reason to keep Hulu. There you go. I believe there's finally like a date for season 2.
That Wu-Tang show is really solid. You're talking about the dramatized one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good show.
I was
Did you watch
enjoying it.
all of season 1? Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah, that's one, man, I don't know if there's a lot of examples of those types of, you know, a dramatization of a real story where, you know, you're casting all these kids to play people who are still around and they actually pull it off and do it well. It does not come off as like, you know, some behind the music style documentary. Like that, it's a serious drama. You don't have to know anything about Wu-Tang Clan, about their music. You don't have to like rap. You don't have to know anything about that world. This show does that brilliant work of bringing you into the world, showing you the passion of the music, where their influences come from, what drives them. And it does so with full characters, fully rounded characters.
And it never forgets to tell the overall arching story of how it happened, how it all came to be.
Yep.
How they all met.
It manages to do all of those things. I think that show is just brilliant, honestly.
And if you know anything about Wu-Tang's history, season 2, RZA's about to get into some shit.
Yeah.
He's about to almost go to jail and all this shit.
And because I don't know how many of but I know the Wu-Tang are involved in this. And, you know, if you're into gear at all, it's very accurate. You know, you get to see what is it, the RZA that gets their first sampler.
Yeah.
Right? And it's I think he wants the 1200. Something happens to the 1200. I think he ends up with an MPC eventually, but it's an SP 1200, an EMU sampler. That was an early digital sampler. And he goes and looks at it and talks to the guy about it, and it's really expensive. And all the stuff of him, like, you know, crate digging and looking for loops and putting the music together, like it's all there. what I'm saying. Like, but it doesn't overwhelm the narrative. Again, if you know nothing about the music industry or rap or any of this stuff, it's going to walk you through it and show you why it matters. But also for people who do know about some of this stuff, it also remains super accurate and totally believable. It doesn't have any moments that pull me out of the world and go, well, I understand what they're going for, but that's not really how this would work. Like their shows that they play, the performances that they give, those all seem totally legit.
Yeah, I hear you. I hate when I'm watching something, any TV or movie, and yeah, you're pulled out of the story by going, wait a minute.
Something simple. Somebody doesn't plug in a guitar, or whatever. Just something that you're like, okay, I'm in movie land, so.
Yeah. No, it all seemed very, very real, and yeah, as someone who was in the music scene, not at the time, but in the general time frame, yeah, it was all very believable.
Yep.
It's cool seeing like half of these guys were enemies. I believe like the arc that they're building between Ghostface Killah and RZA is they were like competing drug dealers or some shit, or in rival gangs or something, and they end up being boys and being in Wu-Tang together.
Yeah, and it's like that part of the story that I like, especially with RZA's story, where the label wants to sign him on as a solo act. And, the only thing that stops him from just being another Milli Vanilli is that he has a vision. And even when people are, quote unquote, giving him everything that he wants, he realizes that, like, that's not really what I want. I want all the things that come with it, but ultimately what I want is to have, artistic control over my own work.
Yeah, because
to have my own voice.
Because the first season he gets signed to a label, and they're trying to
signed. His single is hitting big. Like it's.
But they're doing that corny
rap
great
shit
song that they did in the early to mid '90s. They tried making him one of those corny rappers, and it didn't. Mm-hmm. It didn't play. It didn't play with the public, and it didn't play with him. They got to
cartoon him up for the masses because people, aggressive black dude is not going to sell. We got to, we got to dress you up. We are essentially blackface you.
Yeah, and he wasn't down with it, and apparently neither was the public because they didn't buy it either. And I think they kind of what they were getting into with that whole thing too is like people can spot fake.
Yeah,
and fucking it got us the Wu-Tang Clan. It was just like seeing how like Method Man was just a friend of a friend of a friend. None of them really even knew Method Man. He was boys with somebody who was boys with somebody they knew.
How the story that brings these people together starts with a shootout.
Yeah.
It starts with one of them shooting up another's apartment.
Well, I mean, that's about right from the part of New York they're all from.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty pumped for season 2. The mad coronavirus delayed it.
Yeah, that's exciting. Is that supposed to hit this year?
I think.
Or did season 2 of Ted Lasso just dropped? I'm glad to have that one.
I didn't even know they were working on it. I know it's only going to go 3 seasons. I know the creator has already copped to that.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get 3 seasons and that's it. Because he'll just say that's how TV is now. Like, I guess the formula now is the biggest and best audience you're going to get in 3 seasons and then move on.
Well, I mean, you don't get to the jump in the shark part of your show, right?
Mm-hmm. Like
better to burn out than to fade away, like Neil Young, who's currently fading away.
Which is ironic. Which didn't the Adam Carolla show figure out? Wasn't jumping the shark only in like season 3 or 4 for Happy Days? Didn't they go on like 4 or 5 more seasons?
Let's see. Well, Gilbert Gottfried just had on his show a guy who I think he said he was brought on Happy Days as a writer for season 4, right? And he said, I think he was talking to his mother, and his mother was saying, well, these TV shows, you can always tell when they're out of ideas because then they go to Hollywood. And he gets hired for Happy Days, and this show is huge. And he's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is going to be big for my career. This show is going to go on for years. I'm set. First episode that he gets to write on, they go to Hollywood, and he's like, oh no. And that's where they jump the shark.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes from. There's literally the scene where, Henry Winkler or his stunt double is jumping. He's jumping on a ramp and goes over a shark that they splice in afterward.
Well, the other thing too is, I'm sure whenever.
But yeah, that's season 4. So that's a strong argument for 3 is the perfect number.
Well, another sign too is when they start marrying people up or having people have kids. That's another sign they're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Like what, Modern Family, when all the kids hit puberty and they ended up writing in Sofia Vergara getting knocked up so he could have another cute kid. It's like, all right,
that's right.
We're running out of ideas.
Hey, all these kids are getting really awkward. These teeth aren't growing in like we hoped.
Yeah,
we better get some cuties on here. Anyone want to adopt another?
Yeah, and they really couldn't. I don't think they saw Ariel Winter heading the direction that she headed. You can't put that in a family show.
Yeah.
Wow, the middle child's tits got really huge.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Rev up the fun with all new delicious treats from Edible, inspired by the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game on the Nintendo Switch system. Power up with Rainbow Road platters and arrangements filled with fresh pineapple stars, colorful Swizzle strawberries, and all new cookie sandwiches, featuring creamy whipped frosting sandwiched between 2 handcrafted cookies with rainbow sprinkles on top. For a variety of gifts that make everyone feel like a champ, shop edible.com today. Game rated E for everyone. Game and system sold separately.
On the Disney Plus original series, Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, it's the Robin you know and love, bringing you the stories you've never heard. Join Robin for intimate conversations with some of the biggest icons of our time, where women from all generations create a dialogue about life, struggle, and triumph. At Robin's Table, inspiration comes full circle. Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, all episodes now streaming on Disney Plus.
Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch. They have licensed agents available 24/7 online or over the phone.
But if it's so easy, you might start thinking everything is easy, even big wave surfing. And it's not. It's actually quite difficult.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance. And you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might lead you to make some questionable purchases, like a 20-foot feather boa. And do you know how hard it is to clean a 20-foot feather boa?
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver.
But when life gets a little easier, it makes you too confident, and you start calling everyone Ace. And you're better than that.
Well, Geico has a 97% customer satisfaction rating and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
On the Disney Plus original series, Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, it's the Robin you know and love, bringing you the stories you've never heard. Join Robin for intimate conversations with some of the biggest icons of our time, where women from all generations create a dialogue about life, struggle, and triumph. At Robin's Table, inspiration comes full circle. Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, all episodes now streaming on Disney Plus. On the Disney Plus original series, Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, it's the Robin you know and love, bringing you the stories you've never heard. Join Robin for intimate conversations with some of the biggest icons of our time, where women from all generations create a dialogue about life, struggle, and triumph. At Robin's Table, inspiration comes full circle. Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, all episodes now streaming on Disney Plus. On the Disney Plus original series, Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, it's the Robin you know and love, bringing you the stories you've never heard. Join Robin for intimate conversations with some of the biggest icons of our time, where women from all generations create a dialogue about life, struggle, and triumph. At Robin's Table, inspiration comes full circle. Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, all episodes now streaming on Disney Plus.
Do you like the paranormal, cryptids, folklore? Then join us at Project Dark Corona on Spreaker. We have a live show on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. We interview the best in all subjects paranormal and strange. Remember, Project Dark Corona Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
R.I.P. Joey Jordison, huh? I mean, not a huge Slipknot fan, but
it can't be that old.
Dude, I read this and my blood ran cold. I'm like, I'm 46.
Oh, he's 46. He was 46.
46 years old, died in his sleep.
In his sleep. So it wasn't even like well, inside of a hooker in a line of coke, half a line of coke running out of his nose. Isn't even like that.
Fell asleep with the needle in his arm. Natural causes. No, I mean he passed away peacefully, according to a statement from his family.
What sucks?
Again, no details.
Not a Slipknot fan, but still,
I'm not a Slipknot fan either. But I think working at Guitar Center, we used to have kids just come. He had his own signature line of like cymbals or some shit. People would go nuts for anything that like he would put his name on. People were like, "Oh, I gotta have it." And I kind of got exposed to his drumming through like drumming videos and YouTube stuff that people would show me, and I definitely appreciate the talent.
Yeah, Slipknot not my thing, but I'm with you on that. Definitely. I mean, most of the drummers I know, they like this dude.
Yeah.
Like he is, He is good at drums.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Slipknot and bands like Limp Bizkit might go in the same categories, and like I don't listen to them, but I do still parse that category into like musicians with talent that just do stuff that I don't like, and musicians with no talent that just do bullshit.
Yeah,
and that's Limp Bizkit. Like Slipknot, they're a legitimate band. These guys. They all seem super talented. I think they write catchy songs. It's not even that. Like,
it's just not for me.
Just not doing it for me. Hey, if Slipknot released their first album when I was 14 years old, mind blown.
Yeah, exactly.
Just did it. Music like this, it's got to hit at the right time. If it doesn't hit you at the right time, it's probably not going to stick with you.
No, I agree. Yeah, exactly. If Slipknot's first album comes out and I'm 15. I'm in, but their first album came out when I was 21, and I was like,
yeah,
maybe. I was like, maybe back in high school. Keep in mind, only 21 at this point, but still, like, not for me. Like new metal, new metal just missed me. Like there were still a few bands I was into, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. But yeah, no, new metal. If new metal came out when I was at the beginning of high school, I would have been in. But it came out for me at the end of high school, like when I was in college. I was like, no.
Yeah, I had already graduated by that point.
Like, did you see there is a documentary out right now? I think it's on Hulu about Woodstock '99.
Yes,
and
I want to check that out when I get my Hulu subscription.
I don't know. We'll be prepared because instead of it being about just how horrible the lineup was, it's about how horrible the people were who went. It turns into. It turns, from what I've heard, it turns into 2 hours of white male bad. Instead of just getting into like, I don't know, it was just a bunch of really shitty bands. It's like the lineup was it was not great.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, apparently I've heard plenty of stories about shady shit that went down there. There is rapes and assaults and all kinds of shit.
If anything,
there are a lot of predators in that audience.
There were at 94 too, but it wasn't. But because the lineup was more press friendly, I guess you could. Because the lineup was more critic friendly, you didn't hear about it. Because there was a lot of bands people enjoyed at 94 versus 99. Trust me, I remember hearing the lineup for 99 and going, "Ew, no thanks."
What were some examples? Who played 99?
Limp Bizkit, Kid Rock.
Oh, God.
Yeah. See, exactly. Let me Google Woodstock '99 lineup.
And there were problems,
right? Oh, by the way, it's HBO Woodstock '99.
Oh, okay. Hey, I've got HBO.
So let's see who was John Entwistle of the Who. Oh, they're talking about people who were there from the original one. Oh, look at this. A day by day, stage by stage lineup. Let's see. Third Base played Woodstock '99. I didn't even know they existed in 1999. Lit, Buckcherry, The Roots, Mo, ICP,
Roots, okay.
George Clinton, James Brown, G. Lovett Special Sauce, Jamiroquai, Live, Sheryl Crow, DMX, The Offspring, Korn, Bush.
See, some of those acts are like worth seeing, but none of those are worth going to a show where Buckcherry, Lit, and
we're selling day one, buddy. The emerging artist stage.
Well, I don't know. Offspring seemed like they put on a good show, actually. I'm just not a fan of the music.
Let's see the emerging artist stage. If we're on the right side of history here.
I'm looking at it.
Bijou Phillips, maybe. I mean, as far as people are still around.
Ben Lee?
Moby was on the emerging artist stage in '99. I thought by then he was Moby.
Yeah, like 99. Wouldn't his big single have already hit, or was that maybe that was 2000?
Let's see. Moving on to Saturday. Guster.
We Are All Made of Stars.
Guster, Everclear, Ice Cube, The Chemical Brothers.
Bruce Hornsby.
The Tragically Hip, Kid Rock, Wyclef Jean, Counting Crows, Dave Matthews, Alanis Morissette, Limp Bizkit,
The Chemical Brothers. That's not too bad.
Well, this right here, this trio, the last three on the East stage on set, this lineup is maligned in this special. Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica.
Well, there's all your assholes.
I remember even back then thinking, like, what did you expect putting those three bands in a row?
Yeah, you got to break that shit up.
You just literally did 6 hours of testosterone. Like, if each band plays a couple hours, like, a whole bunch of bands I've never heard of. Oh, Fatboy Slim. And then moving
I don't know how you get, like... Seems like Dave Matthews or Counting Crows at that time would have been they would have been ones to like break up that metal fest at the end of the night. You should have slotted one, because they played earlier that day on that stage. Like, come on, those are some big acts.
Yeah. And then moving to Sunday, you had Mike Ness, Our Lady Peace, Seven Dust, Collective Soul, Godsmack,
Our Lady Peace,
Megadeth.
That's one of those bands that I wish I would have caught live. They seemed like they would have put on a good rock show. The Gigolo Ants. I remember that band. If there's ever a time for freaking out, it's now.
And then the final night, Willie on the main stage, Willie Nelson, Brian Setzer Orchestra, Everlast, Elvis Costello, Jewel, Creed featuring Robbie Krieger. Ew.
Willie just signed on for a docu-series about his life. I'm all there for that shit. I want to hear those stories.
And then the Chili Peppers closed out the whole thing.
Right.
There is a segment in this documentary where I guess the promoters went to the Chili Peppers and asked them to calm everything down, and then they go out and play Fire.
Oh, hey, John Entwistle played on the emerging artist stage? What the fuck?
And was this like a year or two before he died? Because I remember he died while I was still in classic rock radio. He died while on tour with The Who in Vegas in a hotel room on cocaine. I mean, he went out like a rock star.
Oh, the Super Suckers. I forgot about that band.
Yeah, again, with the emerging artist stage, definitely wrong side of history here. None of these bands, heard of Reveille. I mean, John Entwistle's John Entwistle. But
I mean, like, only half of them have, like, links in this Wikipedia article.
Push Monkey.
They don't have their own page, I'm saying.
And then Big Sugar, they're a Canadian band. Yeah, they've been around forever.
Big Sugar.
How were they an emerging artist in '99 when they'd been around for, like, 15 years? But,
you remember Big Chief?
Aren't they from Detroit?
Yeah. That was... that was a little bit that they were kind of like precursor nu metal. Like they kind of had a Clutch feel to them.
All right. Yeah, no, I do. When I do see articles about them, they are considered like one of the preeminent Detroit stoner rock bands.
Yeah. No, good shit. They were fun. They were a fun band.
I think my whole point of this was like, yeah, the lineup for Woodstock '99, not that great.
No.
Why do you gotta pick on the audience in this documentary when it was really the lineup of music not that great? Maybe the audience was just reflecting their feelings on, wow, we paid how many hundreds of dollars for this pile of shit lineup?
Right. Well, I mean, what kind of behavior are they talking about? I mean, are they talking about sexual assaults and stuff, or is it mostly just like, kids tearing down speakers and rolling around in mud?
Dude, they get all in. They get into the whole. I believe they start, and I don't disagree with some of these statements, but I guess just how they're saying. They get into how it was a bunch of. They start breaking down nu metal and how it was troglodyte rock and problematic and this and that, and it's like, okay, is this about 1990 Woodstock '99 or about all the music you didn't like in 1999?
That sounds like Satanic Panic type of shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
right. It sounds like, oh, these kids are listening to this weird music and it's making them act in a certain way. You're telling me that Limp Bizkit's teaching people to rape? Bullshit. There were white hats raping out there long before, Limp Bizkit came out with a fucking album.
Oh, it's the
rape on campus was a problem before nu metal. That's the thing. Like, you have to decide what your documentary is going to be about. And if you want to make it about the culture of white males raping women, then make it about it. And your story is bigger than Woodstock '99. If not, then just tell the story of Woodstock '99.
Like, I mean, the subtitle of this documentary could be "I hate nu metal," because that's really what it comes across.
But how much
of
this lineup would you describe as nu metal? Like less than 10%?
Right? Exactly. But it's. To me, one of the things I kept thinking when I was hearing all of these sound bites, like, aren't you the same crowd that will tell you music and video games don't affect you?
Right.
But apparently if it's music you don't like, then it affects you and makes you do bad shit.
Yeah. It's like I saw somebody on Facebook trying to make the argument that this is a liberal person saying, well, if you want to tell me what I can do with my body as far as, having a kid or not, talking about abortion, then I can tell you what to do with your body and put a mask on. And I'm like, no, you don't. I don't think that argument says what you think it says.
Yeah, because
because if you're shitting on your own personal freedom and you don't want them to tell you what to do with your body, then why are you telling them what to do with theirs?
You have literally shit on your own point.
Right. Like that statement does not convey the message you think.
Well, no,
yes, it points out a hypocrisy in somebody that you don't like, but it doesn't strengthen your argument for why people should, keep their legislation off your reproductive rights.
That is the fatal flaw in the two generations now below us. There is this whole, well, you did it so we can do it too mentality. No, wrong is wrong. All right, you need to figure out your line here. You need to figure out your boundaries here and stick to them. If something is wrong, something is wrong. It doesn't. It's
not even about that. Like, I have to do something more wrong in order to make it right.
Yeah, it doesn't make it less wrong because now you're doing it. We always learned.
What was the phrase? 2 wrongs don't make it right.
Oh, not 2021. Now 2 wrongs equally right.
Yeah. Everyone's like, okay, but that's just math. So what does 10,000 wrongs equal?
Yeah. Like, you doing it too doesn't even out the playing field. It just makes you have now stooped to the level of the shitty person.
No.
You're now both on the same shitty playing field.
So, I guess this is what we're talking about this week. Not like there was a whole lot of cannabis news.
Well, what happened with this Chuck Schumer bill? Like, it was gonna change the world 3 weeks ago, and we haven't heard shit since it was introduced.
I think it's just going to be like when its 2 previous predecessors with the Home. Is it Home or is that something else? I forget. But whatever, there's been 2 previous bills floating around, And they just keep going, well, you know, these senators are supporting it, and we're building support, and we're planning on doing this and that. And, you know, they never seem to have enough confidence in their votes to actually bring it to the floor.
Congress seems to be the only job on the planet where I'll get to it is an acceptable answer. If you say I'll get to it at my job, our boss here is like, he's not going to get to it. I'll get to it or I'm working on it means you're not.
Yeah. Like if Biden spends the next year of his administration with every week being infrastructure week, then I think you have to admit that the problem wasn't necessarily Trump.
Yeah. I mean,
there might be a reason why we can't get things done, even the things that everybody wants done, like legal weed, like building roads, like saving bridges and buildings before they fucking fall down.
Yeah, I mean, I will posit to these people who want to lay it at Trump's feet, our crumbling infrastructure was a problem well before 5 years ago.
It's got deep and rotten roots that go back way further than that.
Yeah. Bridges and roads have been crumbling since pre-2016, people. Especially around where we live. Oh, Jesus. How many bridges do you drive under where you're like, Jesus Christ?
I know.
You just look at it like, man, you just hope you don't see a chunk of concrete.
Well, look at what when they work on the roads in Detroit, you'll see it. They'll just strip off the top, retar it, repave it like you do any other road, and then they get to the overpasses on the freeway and they just destroy them. They just take them out completely and rebuild them because they were probably made initially with inferior materials because I believe until recent history, we had a big problem, not just in Detroit, but all over the country with organized crime being involved in construction.
What?
And shorting people on materials.
That's just in the movies.
Yeah.
What, you're saying the mob isn't honest, Aaron? That's an outrage.
So, yeah, not a whole lot of weed news. I don't know. I guess there was a story about 2,500 pounds of weed that they caught coming in from Canada, which I guess tells you a little bit of something about how strong the black market is doing, even in a state that's had a decade plus of medical marijuana, a year plus of recreational marijuana, and still there's stuff coming in from Canada by the fucking ton, literally by the ton.
Well, you want your Canadian crippler to be authentic, you know?
Yeah.
This is a real Canadian crippler from Toronto. 2,500 pounds. I'm guessing that's still a huge felony?
Oh, I imagine so, yeah. Regardless of the legality of cannabis, you're talking about pushing that type of weight, you're going to jail. There's a lot of talk about cannabis as a performance enhancer, too.
Oh, my God. Is it for sports? Is this still fallout from that Olympic story from like a month ago? Oh, my God. It is not. Why do we have to have this conversation all the time? It is not a performance-enhancing drug. Unless you are a competitive eater, unless you are in competitive napping, cannabis is not a performance-enhancing drug.
I'm trying to find the story that I saved on it.
Now, IOC, you can call it a banned substance. Sure, go ahead. Knock yourself out there. But to call it a performance-enhancing drug is just dishonest.
Well, so I can't find the article that I saved. There's actual quotes from a doctor that they were talking to in there. But basically what he was saying is that, it obviously depends on how you want to define a performance-enhancing drug, which is kind of vague in general as it is.
Do you do better at something than you would not on the drug?
Right.
I mean, that's
that's the thing.
Pretty easy.
So he was pointing out some things that somebody could possibly perform instances where people might perform better on cannabis than not. And especially in Olympic events because there's a huge fucking crowd. There's a lot more attention on these people that, they trained, like some of these people have trained their entire lives for this one event, but none of that was done in front of, tens of thousands of people. It's like you're doing all this practically in seclusion, and then this is your big chance. This is your chance to, on the world stage to show your abilities and your, might not be in a super comfortable position to have like tens of thousands of people looking at you. So it's possible that that could be deemed as performance enhancing because it just calms you down if the right person, you know. Again, I'm not saying like if you don't smoke weed and you're going to be in a situation where a lot of people are going to be looking at you, weed's not your thing. That's not the night to try it. Right? But if you are comfortable smoking weed, yeah, you might have a little bit of an edge on that. Make you feel a little bit more comfortable, more in your element, not so much thinking about everybody's looking at me. But also he was pointing out the anti-inflammatory properties of smoking cannabis and just basically the ability to help your body recover quickly as well. Probably combined with the anti-inflammatory stuff. But yeah, I mean, there is an argument that you could deem it as performance enhancing. But that being said, anything that you put in your body could be put into that category. I think the problem is that they need to definitively define cannabis. Like, you know, if it's going to go in the category of performance enhancer and people know that it's a banned substance, well, that's a sport, right?
Yeah.
If you are a regular cannabis user, maybe that's where it's not for you. I don't know.
I found myself in an awkward position in that whole Sha'Carri Richardson situation, you know,
right,
on the sports podcast, because I'm on this podcast too. But I mean, when it comes down to it, there was a rule. You ignored it. Yep. Don't be mad you got caught. I mean, and I brought this up because Earl, of all people, tried to be like, oh, whatever, her mom died, she had to do this. I said, great, but you're on a team. You're on a team. You put that team at risk. You became a liability. The team has chosen not to move forward with you because you've chosen to say that I think I'm more important than the other people I'm on the team with. Everyone has been training for years to get here, and you're going to, you know, great, your mom died. Great, everyone's parents die. It sucks.
Another thing that you probably heard as a child, life's not fair. Yeah. Right? And what our parents were saying to us was that, you know, sometimes there's things that happen and they're not fair. It just outright sucks and it shouldn't be happening. But that doesn't mean that there's a solution or a workaround or something. That's just how it is, right? Is the situation with what was her name? Sha'Carri?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the situation with her unfair? Absolutely. But what do you do with that information? Absolutely nothing. Maybe work to change policies in the future, but you can't argue that there wasn't a policy set and that she didn't break policy.
Like I said, it's like applying for a job where there's a drug test, peeing dirty, and then being pissed you didn't get the job.
Right. Is it fair that you didn't get the job because you like to smoke pot? Absolutely not. But that is their policy. You knew it. You didn't. You know, you couldn't either, you know, didn't have enough discipline to stop smoking or weren't smart enough to know how to mask it. And so that's why you didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's there is this new, we already talked about it, I think, on this show. Like, or maybe it was in the chat. The circumstances of your bad decision does not free you from the consequences of your bad decision.
Yeah.
Like, that's how we were raised. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you might have done something stupid because you were put in a crappy situation and you made the bad call, but you still made the bad call and now you have to pay for your bad call.
Well, I support her, and I do think it was unfair, but I think that there's benefit to talking about this story because, you know, I think this is something that we could easily change. We could easily amend this and understand that a lot of people smoke pot for all different types of reasons, and it's not giving anyone a noticeable edge over another, and it should be something that is just accepted, and so. This story getting out there, maybe that'll help push some kind of change. But, yeah, you lose me when you try and say, well, something needs to be done. She needs to, you know, be put back on the team or whatever. I'm like, no, that's done. Ship has sailed.
No, she made her choice.
Yeah.
She said, I would rather smoke this joint than be in the Olympics.
Well, you know, in that way, it's no different than Simone Biles, right? No, she was in the news today because she stepped away from the Olympics saying that she was not in the really. She's essentially saying she's not in the right headspace, right? She's not doing well mentally enough to perform at this high level that everyone is expecting her to. And so she'd rather step down than knowingly perform badly. And essentially what she's doing is she's putting her own mental health ahead of her career, which is a really, really tough decision. And I see that Sha'Carri is doing the same thing ultimately, you know. She knew that, you know, they find out she smokes weed, that's going to be a big problem for her career. But, you know, maybe Sha'Carri not on weed is a fucking mess, like me. You know?
And Rich brought up the point, too, like maybe this weed thing could be the only thing we're hearing of. Maybe she also wasn't that great of a teammate. And maybe this was maybe this was the coach finally getting an excuse, like, well, everybody hates you, now you've done this, we're done here.
Yeah.
She's shown she's willing to put herself in front of her team, which when you're on a team, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, you fucked up. You know, look, when I got cast in a play, in not a huge role, but a fairly big role in the play. And the night before we were supposed to open, we were practicing at the junior high. I came across a couple cheerleaders that were saying some snide stuff, probably about my hair, the way me and my friend were dressed. And so I mooned them. And they reported me to the principal. I got suspended for 4 days. Those 4 days happened to land on every single one of the performances of the play that I was supposed to be in. The play was screwed. They had to recast the person who actually, I believe it was Tony Geftos who took my role. He's on the news now. He's a newscaster.
No understudy?
Yeah, no understudy in high school. He had to hurry up and learn the lines and come through, and I felt like shit. I had let down the whole everybody else had to scramble and do extra work to make up for my mistake. And was it unfair that you know, because, and look, I didn't even show my ass. You know, these days I don't even know if you could call it mooning, the way people show off their underwear. Like, I just let my pants that were already kind of sagging fall below my butt just to, you know, kind of razz them. So, was it fair that I get suspended for that and you know, that they wouldn't make an exception for the play? Yeah, in general, pretty unfair. It doesn't seem an appropriate punishment for the quote-unquote crime. But is it clearly laid out that you got to keep your pants on in school, and if you don't, you get suspended? Yes. Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's kind of implied.
There's no question about that. So you can't really go argue that, you know, you were treated unfairly. The situation might be unfair, but I was not treated unfairly.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, she did the crime. She paid, she paid the time because she did the crime. Whatever. And to her credit, she did go on national TV and said, "Yeah, I knew it was wrong and I did it anyway."
Yep.
I'll give her that credit. But to me, I was more annoyed with the people defending her. It's like, no, she fucked up, and she knows she fucked up, and now she gets to pay for fucking up. You know, take weed out of the equation. Make it any other drug. It was coke. She wanted to try meth for the first time, or maybe some fucking, psych meds that are on a banned substances list. Who the fuck knows? The substance to me doesn't even matter.
It's moot, yeah. And it's not even about the substance. It's about the behavior. It could have been any number of things that they laid out that said, you know, if you want to be part of this team, these are the things that you cannot do. And she did one of those things.
And then Earl had a bug up his ass about it. You know, oh, well, she did her time. Let her be on the team. I was like, no. Is it because it happens now back then when they were trying to qualify, she just gets penalized. It happens while they're at the Olympics. The whole team gets penalized.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There's no, what, are you just going to do it over again?
Well, I was telling Earl, I was like, I could tell you've never been in a leadership position, because at some point you have to think about the whole team, not just the individual.
Yep. You can have great people that don't fit on your team.
Yes.
That's a possibility. And that's when you have to make the hardest decisions.
You know, is she going to torpedo the dreams of, you know, the dozens of other people she's on a team with because she's having a bad day? Well, that's someone who's a liability. And your job when you're leading a team is to minimize liabilities. So yeah, I just found that whole situation reignited this ridiculous argument that pot is a performance-enhancing drug. No, it is. The only time it said, the only competition I can think of where it'd be performance-enhancing, the hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're going to say that that's performance-enhancing, then what isn't performance-enhancing? Where does ibuprofen fit into that?
You could argue alcohol is performance-enhancing for comedians.
Well,
Doug Stanhope would say, hold on, let me pour some more funny into my face.
Right. But which comedians have to sign contracts saying that they won't use performance-enhancing drugs?
Right. I mean, if you're Snoop Dogg, pot could be a performance-enhancing drug.
Yes.
If you're Cheech Marin, pot could be
it's a performance necessity, I think. Yeah. It's performance-enhancing in as much as if you didn't have cannabis, there wouldn't be a fucking performance.
Right. Like for Bill Maher, maybe it's a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah, but Bill Maher doesn't go on high. He does it afterward.
Yes, and I don't know, don't you know the story Adam Carolla tells about the show he played with Bill Maher all the time?
That he was doing a stand-up at a benefit. That's a little different than his show on HBO.
Bill wanted to take a walk with Adam and talk about...
They were going to do a skit together, and he's like, we should maybe rehearse this a little bit. And he's like, yeah, let's go rehearse. And he went and blew a joint.
All they did was take a walk while Bill smoked a joint, and that was their
and
rehearsing.
Then he went back in, yeah. Well, that's probably what he thought Adam meant when he said we should go rehearse. He's like, oh, yeah, wink.
Yeah, sure.
And then was confused when Adam didn't smoke with him. Like, all right, guy doesn't like rehearsing.
What? This is how I rehearse.
Yeah. Well, it's like when we were in high school. I didn't smoke until I was just out of high school, but the friends that I had that were still in school would be like, we're going to go out to the car and listen to tapes.
Okie dokie.
Listen to tapes. So it became code for smoking weed for like years. Yeah. Like, I got some tapes. Let's go listen to them in the car.
Happen to smell like weed when we come in is purely coincidental.
Yes.
See that? I smoked pot in high school.
We'd at least try and cover it up. They'd be like, why do you smell like you ate one of those Pine Tree air fresheners?
Right. Like, I smoked pot in high school, but it was purely after school and on the weekends. Like, I never did, like, the getting high and going to class to, like, college.
I know kids who did that, man. I don't know. I don't know how they did that shit.
Well, no, it said in high school I would have just left.
Yeah.
Like, I knew kids who were
There's no way you could get me in the building if I was high.
And I knew kids who were like, yeah, drop acid and go to class. Oh, my God. Yeah, exactly. The clock would melt, and I would leave. And they'd say, we're going to call your parents as I was leaving. And I would say, I don't care. Because I would just I would have to get out of that building.
If I dropped acid, by the end of that school day, I would be convinced that I was never going to come down because time would have stopped.
Right.
And I would have thought, I've been high forever, and I'm going to be high forever.
Like I can
clock is not moving anymore.
The high school I went to, by the time I got there, you were probably, this is where our age difference comes into play. My high school had converted to whiteboards from chalkboards by the time I got there.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine being on acid and then just seeing like movies or something playing on these whiteboards behind the teacher while they're talking. Like
I would have Grandpa Simpson that place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
put my hat up. Nope.
Exactly. When Barth runs a brothel.
Yes.
Yeah. He walks in, takes his hat off, turns around, puts it back on, and leaves. Yeah,
that would have been me.
That is exactly what I would have done. Walked into school and nope. Not during
First
this
teacher I saw, like, not doing this.
I will take the 7 unexcused absences. I am fucking out of here.
All right. Well, I think we're out of here, too, on that note.
Yeah. Talking about acid, that's what we do here on the Weisman Podcast.
That's right.
We're on social media on Twitter at the Weisman Podcast. The Instagram it's there. The Weisman Podcast at ChristopherMedia.net. Trust me, I understand it's sizable and it's there and it's dying on the vine, but since like the middle of, since like May of last year, you post a picture of weed on Instagram, they take it down.
Yoink.
So what the fuck what am I supposed to post? Like, so
arugula?
Yeah, there you go. So it's there at the Weisman Podcast on Instagram.
Basil.
You could email the Weisman Podcast at ChristopherMedia.net if you want to drop us a line that way, which I guess too.
Did you try hashtagging it not weed?
Hashtag not marijuana.
Sorry.
No, but it's run by Facebook, right? So it's probably not even a person pulling it down. It's probably
it's automatic. Yeah. It's a bot.
So hit up ChristopherMedia.net and hit the PayPal banner or the Amazon banner if you want to help us out. And wherever you listen to us, which I'm gonna leave YouTube up, but our shows may not show up there now because we're bringing production value back little by little.
I know that YouTube's a giant, but I think this is the beginning of the end for YouTube.
Yeah,
it's been pissing off a lot of people, and a lot of good content providers are finding that they can get just as much traction elsewhere without the harassment.
What's funny is both you and Rich independently brought up the same situation about Kevin Smith can't post his own material on YouTube.
Yep,
he gets flagged for copyright. Like, hello, I own the copyright. You can't even. It's just dumb. So we're there on YouTube. They'll still be the shows that have published will be there. The new ones might not show up, but wherever you listen to us, just rate us, review us. That helps people find us. That's how it works now. You do something that you've never done before. You're buying something you never bought before. You're listening to something you never listened before. You're checking out what other people think of it to see if it is worth your time. Because time is a commodity you don't get back. So speaking of that, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you. Damn it, wrong show. Stay high.
Stay high.
Summer is not just reserved for the weekends. It's time to say goodbye to your old vacation and say hello to Camelback Resort in the Pocono Mountains. Plan a midweek getaway and save up to 25% when you book early. 2 water parks, indoor and outdoor, with over 50 rides, slides, and attractions. Newly renovated suites, and you can take the fun off-road with the new Switchback UTV tours, private campfire experiences, and more. Book your Camelback vacation today at CamelbackResort.com. Aquatopia always included with your stay. Restrictions apply.
This is Peacock. I love it! It's streaming your favorite shows, movies, live sports, breaking news, exclusive originals. It's The Office. That's what she said. Chrisley Knows Best.
It's gonna be Todd's Way or the Highway.
And Peacock original shows like Punky Brewster.
Holy macanoli.
So whether you're in the mood for every live WWE pay-per-view or every episode of Law & Order SVU, Peacock's got you covered. Peacock. Watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at PeacockTV.com.
90 Day is going tropical on the new Discovery Plus original series, Love in Paradise, the Caribbean. It's a vacation love story where sun, surf, and seduction collide. 4 Americans are traveling back to the exotic islands where they hope their sexy romances can turn into forever. Love in Paradise, the Caribbean, a 90-day story. Streaming now only on Discovery Plus. Start your free trial. Terms apply.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.